Nessie is not what we thought. No one ever really believes in the Loch Ness monster anymore, do they? Since the first time it was introduced in a local newspaper in 1933 as a picture taken by two idiots and a really old camera, everyone and their mother has seen it. My question to you would be, how could a monster live for this long? I used to believe in Nessie when I was very young, watching TV shows like Monster Quest, which dragged in people to talk about the weird things they saw in the water. I loved everything sea monster, sea serpent, and dragon-like, until I committed the unfortunate act of growing up. Part of me still loves the idea, even now. But considering where I am right now, I wish I had just stayed the fuck home. This story will sound fantastical. It'll sound like a hoax. It'll be exactly what those Monster Quest idiots thought would sound like a really convincing story when they brought those country folks in and stuck them in front of a washed-out 90s TV camera. I'm writing to keep myself from hyperventilating down here, so hear me out. Never, and I mean never, go out on a massive body of water with zero knowledge on how to drive a motorboat. Just trust me, it'll get better. I promise that I meant absolutely no harm when I stole the motorboat from my gracious hosts when they went out for dinner together. I promise that I wasn't that high when I was out on the water. Now, I know what you're thinking. Something along the lines of, you probably had some weed laced with something stronger and tripped so hard you thought you saw something. What I experienced wasn't a trip. I wish it was. The high itself was nice. It was from just a bit of weed baked lovingly into some of my favorite cookies. It was because of that mellow, calm feeling that made me feel that it made sense at the time that I could probably figure out how to drive a boat. People did it all the time, so why couldn't I? By the time I was on the water, I was experiencing some kind of euphoria. The moon was more beautiful than I had ever seen it, and its ivory light danced across the cold waters of the loch. I remembered thinking how my childhood self would be freaking out if she knew I was standing on a boat in the middle of the only place she had ever dreamed of seeing for the sole purpose of catching a glimpse of Nessie. Nessie the hoax. I sat down by the edge of the boat and watched the water, entranced, with my arm dangling over the side, skimming the glimmering surface with the tips of my fingers. The cold felt delicious, and the freedom I could feel in my veins injected me with a sort of childlike, romantic joy. About 5 feet away from my hand, watching me from the water, was the large top half of a human face. I don't remember what I did, or how I reacted. All I can clearly recall in my memory was how large it was. It looked like a giant's head. Its nose and mouth were concealed by the inky water, but the eyes and forehead were visible. It had hair so black it looked like the water it floated in, and I remember distinctly how the scent of an off-smelling perfume wafted over me. The eyes were, I couldn't for the life of me tell you what color they were, how they were shaped, or how big they were. It's like they've erased from my memory, and all I feel when I try to think of them is a sense of wrongness, and the knowledge that what I was looking at I wasn't meant to see. I couldn't look away though, and whether it was from fear or from fascination, I remember not being able to do much of anything other than stare with my heart in my throat. She wouldn't blink. I thought about how weird it was that she wasn't blinking, and then she spoke. It's been a while. I sputtered in surprise at the volume. It was like she was speaking in my ear, and only then did I break out of my paralysis and scramble backwards into the center of the boat. She didn't move from the water. She only stared at me with those fucked up eyes. "Do we know each other?" I asked, not having the slightest idea of what to say. "No," she replied, the voice still as if it were right in my ear. It was smooth and silky, comforting. Oddly enough, it reminded me of my mother, and my rapidly pounding heart relaxed. Whatever she was, she had an effect on me, and that alone should have sent the alarm bells ringing. But it didn't. I slowly approached the side of the boat and got to my knees, gripping the cold metal of the railing and shivering slightly. Whether it was from the chill or the circumstances, I don't know. It's kind of late to be out swimming, I tried, hoping beyond all hope that this was just a very tall, creepy Scotland native out for a dip. A delicate, tinkling laugh floated through my mind, and I realized that whatever this thing was, it was speaking to me through some kind of telepathic link. Or I might have been higher than a kite. I don't really know anymore. It's kind of late to be out in a boat that doesn't belong to you, she replied. It felt like a good idea at the time. Does it feel like a good idea still? That depends on whether or not you're real. What does me being real have to do with the fact you stole a boat? Wait, how did you know this boat isn't mine? Again, the laugh echoed in my head, and I leaned further over the boat, getting used to the odd, wrong eyes that looked up at me from the inky waters. I know everything that goes on this lake, she explained very slowly. I know the man who this boat belongs to, and I know his wife. I know everyone that comes to visit, and I know everyone that lives here. Regulars to guests, to the animals that drink the fresh waters from the river that flows into the loch. How? I asked. It's a secret. What are you? That's also a secret. I'm good at keeping secrets. I attempted. No, you're not, the creature said with a smugness I could hear without the expression to match it. You're terrible at lying also, and you've waited your whole life to see something remarkable, haven't you? My body went stiff, and I felt the cold wind off the loch seeping through my jacket and teasing my already bristling skin. There was a muted sense of absolute danger itching at the back of my skull, but whatever kind of spell I was under had me rooted there. And I knew it, but oddly enough, I didn't really seem to care. I still don't. I appear to the people who truly believe in something greater than themselves, she said, her wrong eyes boring into me. To the people with love in their hearts, the kind of people who want something extraordinary to exist not because they want to have proof, but because they want to experience it, to believe in it. I didn't know what to say. Less and less have come by lately. You're Nessie, I heard myself say, my voice sounding distant to my own ears in comparison to the voice that spoke in my mind. I am what you believe me to be. If you're what I believe you to be, why aren't you a giant plesiosaur or a massive sea serpent? You grew up. I blinked at her, and then I felt my heart begin to race as the rest of her slowly rose out of the water. I wasn't entirely sure what I was seeing, and I'm not entirely sure of it now. It was like trying to make sense of an abstract art piece that looked like several things at once. I'll do my best without trying to sound insane. Okay? Imagine the head of the most beautiful woman you've ever seen. Think Keira Knightley or like Ana de Armas, and then connect it to the body of the biggest snake you've ever seen. Like a fucking jungle anaconda that'll swallow a crocodile, but instead of the big blotchy spots, it looks like it has the scales of a black dragon. I wasn't that high, I swear. Despite what I knew I was seeing, I couldn't deny that it was beautiful. The moonlight glinted off her scales and dazzled me with its brightness. My chest was hurting, and I couldn't tell if it was because of how heartbreakingly beautiful she was, or if I was terrified. In retrospect, I believe it was both. The eyes. I remember the eyes holding me in place as the beautiful creature lowered itself to be eye level with me. What are you really? I asked, breathless. The creature didn't reply, but as she moved closer to me, all I could see were the eyes. I've been trapped here for centuries, she replied, her voice echoing through my mind like it was a wide open space. God, what color were her eyes? Bound to the water and forced to read the hearts of humans, to become their dreams, to embody their fears. Bound by what? I asked. My mouth hadn't moved, but still the question was asked. Then, she said something I can't remember. Maybe I don't want to remember. Maybe my brain is blocking it out so I can remain as sane as I can possibly be. But I don't know what good sanity will do me anymore outside of writing this down. The thing she said sounded more like a picture than a word, and it was so horrible my body reacted viscerally. I might have thrown up, I might have passed out, but all I remember is the soft command to hold my breath. The next thing I knew, I was here, in the dark, with my waterproof phone and a whole lot of skeletons. There's an underwater cavern system at the bottom of Loch Ness. Did you guys know that? There's a fun little air pocket down here that this thing's been living in for a while. Like a teapot. Short and stout. God. There's a skull right next to me that I've been avoiding eye contact with, and I finally gave in just now. It's dark down here, and my phone is dying. Isn't that funny? It's always right before someone dies in the really scary horror movies that their last bit of light dies. Batteries go out, electricity gets cut off, phone lines go dead. There's no service at the bottom of Loch Ness, by the way, and it would be perfectly understandable if I wasn't about to fucking die down here. Who would I call? 911? What's your emergency? Have I got a weird story for you? I don't want to die down here. She's out there hunting, but she'll be back soon. And I'll end up just like the rest of these people who were dragged down just like me. There's no way out. Please. My name is Redacted and my dad is Redacted. I live at Redacted. And I have 2 sweet cats who won't know where their mama is. Weirdly enough, just knowing that they won't know where I went makes me feel worse than the idea of my own mortality. I hear her. She's back. God, I hope it's quick. Her eyes are every color that's wrong in the world.